Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Diamond and yet another wonderful episode of Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy. We got another great show for you. We had some great shows in the past, but this is going to be my favorite one because it's right now, it is today. Before we get started with our first guest, though, who I can't wait to kick around with, you get it? Kick around with? We're going to remind you that tomorrow night, the weather's going to be fine, and we're going to be back at Movies in the Outfield. Don't laugh at me. Our producer, Nick, is laughing at me because I said the weather's going to be fine because it is absolutely a torrential downpour out there right now. But tomorrow night, 7:30, The Goonies will be the movie. 6:30, go to squirrelsbaseball.com, squirrelsbaseball.com, The Goonies tomorrow night. Friday night, we don't care if it rains or not Friday night. You know why? Because we're doing rain or shine happy hour. We're going to do it in the concourse. If the weather's good, you can go have a catch in the outfield, run the bases, whatever you want. But rain or shine from 5:30 to 8, kick your weekend off here at the Diamond. Then Saturday night, swim night. Swim night. No, that we don't have a pool, but swim night here at the ballpark. Finding Nemo's the movie. And you can go to squirrelsbaseball.com, and we have a special ticket offer, $12. Was that lightning I just saw, Nick? Yeah, okay. I might die right here on Parney's Pitch Around. $12 ticket for Finding Nemo, but that also gets you into the movie, and we give you a swim cap, so you can swim faster with your Flying Squirrels logo on. Next week, I can't tell you what the movies are, but it rhymes on Thursday night with Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Thursday night. 80s in August in the 80s, Thursday night, and then we're doing a thing on Saturday. Nick, what was the name of the movie again? Coco. Our Diaz Voladores, Coco. So make sure you plan on coming. And by the way, we're going to talk to our guests, our first guest coming up. They have something going on this Saturday night we want you to be involved in too. And we'll do that right after this quick commercial break with our first guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Virginia Hall of Famer, Rob Ukrop, coming up right next on Parney's Pitch Around, powered by Dominion Energy.
Stay safe, man. See you when you get back.
Count on it. Hey, big girl. Daddy's gotta go for a bit. I'll be back. I promise.
At Dominion Energy, 1 in every 5 new hires is a veteran. We're grateful for the many sacrifices you make.
All right, welcome back. Whoa, echoes, things in my head. That's been happening all day today. Welcome back to Parney's Pitch Around. And this segment is presented by our friends at Pepsi. And we're going to bring in a great friend of ours, a great friend of mine personally, who was one of the first people we met way back when we got here 11 years ago. Now, he is the chairman, very important title of the Richmond Kickers, one of the greatest soccer players ever to come from our region, and an all-around great person. And lastly, and most importantly to me, my personal friend, Rob Ukrop. Rob, welcome to the show. I love your headwear.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I've actually got a pair of Parney Flying Squirrel shorts as well. You have to wear them, but I'll get those on another time.
Well, we'll be pitching those at the end of the show like we always do. We got about 15 minutes with you, Rob. There's a whole bunch of things we want to talk about. There's so many things that you and the Kickers franchise is doing. But let's first talk a little bit about yourself personally. Obviously, you're a lover of soccer. When did that start in your life? Was it a thing right when you got on this earth? Like, talk a little bit about how you fell in love with soccer, when and why.
So I would say I first played soccer in second grade at collegiate. I got to school early before school started, and a guy named Gary Allen introduced me to the game. In a little bit, we were inside playing indoor soccer on a basketball court, and it just felt comfortable to me. But even today, it's my third favorite sport. My dad, who played basketball and golf at the University of Richmond, he just instilled a love of sports and love of competition. So he introduced me to everything. Soccer was a sport he didn't know much about, but once I took a kind of shine to it, he really encouraged it and, kept us involved in everything we could, just trying to teach us how to win and lose with grace.
And what are your favorite two sports then, if soccer is your third favorite sport?
Basketball is one and golf is two.
Favorite basketball team, go.
Davidson Wildcats.
Ah, okay. My next question. You went to Davidson College. I used to live at exit 33 off Brawley School Road when I ran the Kannapolis Intimidators. Why in the world would a guy who has Richmond at his fingertips, like you do, go to Davidson?
That's the only place that wanted me. So, my dad told me I had two other options, Wake Forest and University of Richmond. I know my former coach who passed away sadly last year, Charlie Slagle, but he said, I believe in you. I'll give you a chance, and I think you could do great things. And just that little spark that he saw in me and the ability to encourage me and give me an opportunity, that's all I needed. And, the first time I visited, I'm like, I would never go here. People are too smart. They're studying on a Sunday morning, which seemed weird to me. But
it seems very weird to me, Rob.
Yeah, but it was probably the best blessing I've ever had. Sometimes it just works out, and Charlie had a great influence on my life. But, the opportunity, my mom and dad sent me down to school at Davidson. It was amazing.
So talk a little bit briefly post-Davidson. You went on to play professional soccer. Talk a little bit about what that was like and when that was, because that was a pretty exciting time in American soccer, correct?
Yeah, so my senior year of college, we happened to be hosting the Final Four. Now it's called the College Cup for the Division I programs. And we happened to play our way into it. So there was a 8,000 people sold-out crowd. We lost to the University of San Diego. Duke was beaten by UVA in the other semifinal, and UVA won again that year. But because of that run that we had and the teammates that I had, they made me look pretty good. So I had a few opportunities. I went to play with the United States U23 team at the time, and I had a little success there and got drafted to play some indoor. So I used to do the old indoor-outdoor every 6 months. You just alternate to survive. And in 1996, I happened to get drafted to the MLS, and I had a short stint there, 6 months in New England. And then I ended up back here in Richmond. And anytime you can play in front of your hometown fans, it's really important. And most importantly, the thing I loved about Richmond, it gave me a chance to get involved in the community. I know you guys do an incredible job of getting out to schools and just being around town and having a presence. And that's one of the things that really I've been able to embrace as a longtime Richmonder and somebody that gets to have an opportunity to work with kids.
Well, your story's so great. Not very often does an athlete and a Hall of Fame athlete, because like I said, you are in the Virginia Hall of Fame. Not often does that person get to play for a team and then own the team. Real quick, talk about one or two of your favorite memories as a Richmond Kickers player.
Gosh, I mean, we won the Open Cup in 1995. We had, I would still say the best team we've ever had. We ended up having 9 different players get drafted in MLS in 1996. But it's just a great group of guys. We lived together at Ashley Park off Jank Road.
That sounds like trouble.
Together.
That sounds like trouble. If we had all baseball players in one apartment, it wouldn't be a good thing. I'd be getting calls every day.
Well, the good news is, so I don't drink, so I've always been the designated driver, kind of the Uber before Uber. So I've gotten to have these great guys and great friends and great stories, and that will be one memory just that season. Nothing, not so much the winning, but just the camaraderie and the sportsmanship. And then probably the other part, I just remember my first year playing professionally, playing at the old U of R on stadium campus where they play football now. And I can look up and my grandparents and my great uncles and my aunts and uncles and mom and dad and just that the ability for people to come out that I knew and would cheer for me, win, lose, or draw. It was just nice to know there were people cheering and lifting you up. So that was probably the highlight of it.
Now, how was it like? Did you have to barter with your teammates for the pass list? Because I'm sure you were probably number one on the pass list with all the relatives. I ran a team in Kannapolis, North Carolina, near my hometown of Locust, North Carolina, and I crushed the pass list every single night. Right. Same with you here?
Well, so you know my dad, so you can imagine. My dad's like, I'll buy tickets. I want to support the team. So yeah. So that's been the nice thing about the family. But it really is. It's a great thing to play in your hometown and just the different people that you get to see. And I know one of the things that Charlie and I last year before he passed away, after every home game, we stand at the gate and thank people. And, at the time you could shake hands, but just thank people for coming out. And it was so nice to see people that I played in front of, little kids that used to ask for an autograph, bringing their kids to the game now. So just the continuity of being in a special place like Richmond. I know you guys have experienced the same thing because, I come out to your games and just your presence is just, you're larger than life for people, and they feel comfortable talking to you, sharing what they love about the Squirrels and what they want to see improve. So,
yeah, I was actually just telling somebody in a meeting today. They asked me what I missed the most, and I said being at the gates pre and post game. All right, Rob. So we talked about your love of soccer, your career in soccer. Why in the world would you want to buy the Richmond Kickers? You mentioned our friend Charlie, who we miss. I fell in love with Charlie very, very quickly. Such a charming personality. Why buy the Richmond Kickers?
Well, we didn't want it to disappear. So, it started, we had I guess it was a 25-year reunion for the Final Four team. Charlie was down there, and all the wives, we had 22 out of 25 guys made it back for our reunion. And the wives got along, and afterwards, one of my teammates, Ben Hayes, his wife had said, "You guys should work together. You guys still get along so well, and we like all the spouses." So we had this document floating around amongst us all, and I knew that at some point the pro team was going to be for sale. So we floated that out there, and I had a couple of my teammates say, "Let's do this." And for somebody that's been here a long time, and at one point my dad was part owner of the team, it just felt like we needed to keep this thing here. Obviously, the circumstances right now are making it incredibly challenging for all sports teams to operate, but we're hanging in there, and it's just important for having kids come out here and have an opportunity to just aspire to be a professional athlete, whatever the sport might be.
So, folks out there in Parney's Pitch Around land, if you're watching and you've heard Rob now reference his dad 4 or 5 times, if you've been living under a rock in Richmond, Virginia for the last 70 years, yes, his dad is Bobby Ukrop. Bobby Ukrop, one of the most famous names in Richmond, Virginia. I want to skip over my next question, and I want to go, you just mentioned COVID. So I was going to ask you why your favorite 3 things about being the chairman of the Richmond Kickers. I'm sure COVID is not one of them, so I'll save that question for last. Talk a little bit, and you and I spent a lot of time texting, a lot of time on the phone because we're going through a lot of the same things. Talk about what it's like for the Richmond Kickers going through COVID, because it's a pretty amazing story.
Yeah, so it's been incredible. We got shut down right away in March, and we brought in a new head coach, Darren Sawatsky, one of my teammates in New England.
Who's awesome.
He's a rock star. I know he probably wants to be a rock star too. But the nice part is in March when we started this whole thing, guys were shut down. He was daily Zooming with the players, doing team meetings, and keeping guys upbeat and encouraged. And that's been the most important part. We've tried to do the same thing with the front office staff as we're, just knowing that at some point we're going to try and get back to play games. I know within the USL League One, it was really important for the ownership group to, if there's a way to pull off a season, we wanted to have a season. I know selfishly for the Richmond Kickers, we're the longest running soccer franchise in the country, dating back to 1993.
Wow.
We're 1 day older than Charleston.
Wow.
So the idea that we might have to shut down for the season and break that streak would be heartbreaking. So we were really excited, and we worked with Danny Avula from the City Health, as well as the league.
Talk about a rock star. Talk about a rock star right now.
Yeah, he certainly is. And Dan Schmidt from RMC has been incredible advocate for all sports and entertainment venues, trying to get people restarted. So we followed all the protocols, and it's been incredibly challenging. And some sponsors have stuck with us, which we're super happy about. They've been incredible, but just want to put on a season. And the other night we had 822 people. We put up 850 tickets for sale, so we're just short of a sellout. But we were incredibly happy with the enthusiasm and just people following the rules with the mask and doing their best to social distance.
I know you're incredibly proud of your staff. Talk a little bit about what it took, not just your staff, your front office staff, but I know Darren has had a huge role, and Matt, Spear, and many, many people. Just for a minute or so, take a moment and give them a tip of your Richmond Flying Squirrels hat that you're so comfortably wearing tonight.
Yeah, well, we said from day one, this is a team effort. And one of the things that we intentionally did last year, we introduced a book by John Gordon called The Power of the Positive Team. So we've really tried to keep everybody engaged and think upbeat and be positive. Everybody's dealing with different challenges at this time, whether it's worried about family or worried about other people. So we've taken a few people from your staff that have left. Camp Period comes to mind. He is an incredible operations director for us, and he's really just showed great leadership in this time and his attention to detail. Being able to pull off last weekend, I take my hat off to Camp. He did much of the hard work on that, and keeping our staff. He managed our staff, and it's been really cool just to see people come together. Amy Neal, Dreama Nunley, Chris Jennings, Will Selden, Nathan, Patrick. The list goes on. And then on the technical side, you've got Ray as our team ops guy, just keeping us moving. It's been incredible with Darren and Mika and Chloe and Riley. We just had this great group. We added Drew from your former team, who's helping us with our stadium ops. And we're just excited. We have good people that are striving to do the best they can in this difficult environment. And, what I most love is when I hear people talking on the phone, just being upbeat and encouraging. Even if they don't want to come out to the game, they're not comfortable, we're trying to give them a little bit of positive light and shine it throughout the region.
Well, you're definitely doing that. I know all of us in the Richmond sports community are so proud of the job you and everyone over there is doing. Nick, how much time do we have left? Okay, we got 5 minutes. So I am going to ask you this. Rob, the three things you like the most about being the chairman of the Richmond Kickers. The three things you like the most about being the chairman of the Richmond Kickers. And then we're going to play, in the last couple minutes, we're going to play some quick fire question and answers, the hard-hitting questions from Parney, presented by Pepsi. So give us the three things you like the most about being the chairman of the Richmond Kickers.
Gosh, that's a strange question. I never really thought of it. I mean, I just love being around our young staff and trying to help educate them.
It's a great question, even though it might be strange. You got to say it's a great question.
It is a great question.
Okay,
it's a great question. But you're a great mind, so that's how it usually works. But just being able to work with our younger staff and the whole customer service part is something that I learned from my dad and my mom and my grandparents. So, when we were in the supermarket business, that was an important part of it. So just the customer service part and building relationships, that's been really joyful for me. The other part is I just love shaking people's hands. It's funny. I'm kind of introverted, and my wife, I always tell her, I just want to quietly do something. But being at the gate and just hearing people, good, bad, or ugly, whatever they say about our event, it's just nice to hear feedback and know that people came and took a chance and gave us an opportunity. And I think the third part is when we win a game, man. I was amped the other night. We won 1-0. I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning just laying there thinking, man, that was pretty fun. We had, people gave us a chance, and I think we delivered. We delivered with a great result. You delivered 1,000,000%. You delivered, and as I said, all of us in the Richmond sports community was really, 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 really proud of you. All right, let's play a little game. I'm gonna blurt out a question, and I need you to give me a quick hitting answer. We're gonna finish up the segment with this. All right, you ready to go? Let's do it. You're locked in a U-Crops grocery store. You can only take one thing out of there. What's it going to be? As somebody who grew up with the last name U-Crops, and you're in a U-Crops, what's the one thing you're taking out of there? Probably White House rolls. Great answer. If you could only eat one thing the rest of your life, not White House rolls, what else would it be? What would it be? Probably a Which tuna fish sandwich. Good. All right, the other question. Name one thing that Richmonders don't know about Rob Ucrop that you're going to tell them right now on Parney's Pitch Around. That they don't know? Well, I've been wearing a Band-Aid to my right shin since I knew it. I would have won $1 million. I knew you were going to say that. Say it again because I talked over top of you. I've been wearing a Band-Aid to my right shin since 1995. I've got a tan line there, but I change it every couple of days. I know you love golf, and we've shared the golf course before. You're an amazing golfer, and your trick shots are awesome. You can play golf with
3 people, dead or alive. Your family's not included because I know you'd say your dad. 3 people, dead or alive. Who would they be? Go.
I can play golf with anybody as long as they play fast. So, gosh, I'd probably like to play with you. We've been trying to play for a couple years now. So I'd put you on that list. I think it'd be fun to play with Tiger and just the amount of trash talk. And then probably Jack Nicklaus. I mean, that probably.
Well, if you're playing with me, John Daly and I are a package deal, so you might have to put Daly in there, but it might get out of hand. But at least you'll be able to drive us home, so that's a good thing.
That's true.
The elevator pitch. 1 minute, we get on an elevator, we're both wearing masks. You're going to tell me something about the Richmond Kickers. Go.
I'll tell you, Richmond is an incredible city. It's diverse. It's growing. The Richmond Kickers really replicate what you see in Richmond. The amount of different faces and different backgrounds that people come out to share the beautiful game. You know, not to downsell baseball because I love coming out to the Squirrels games, but I can tell you if the game starts at 6:30, you'll be out of there at 8:30.
I always say that. I always say that about your games. All right,
so
last.
That's good. So then you can go on to the second half of the Squirrels game at that point.
There you go. You can, because we're probably going to be playing for 4.5 hours because our pitchers are throwing beach balls at bat oars sometimes. Boat oars, I mean. All right, last thing, very last thing. You're in your beautiful family room, it looks like. Who's number 6 behind you that has all that head of hair? Who is that?
That's one of my favorite college memories. So in 1992, we were playing against NC State in the NCAA.
I hate NC State. Hate them.
Yeah, me too. So, well, you'll like this story then. So it was in the 3rd overtime, sudden death. Matt Spear took a corner kick in the corner. He played it across. I chest trapped it. It lands. I slam it home. With that goal, we're going to the Final Four, which is being hosted by Davidson. I ran toward the crowd with my arms up. I fell down, and it was an amazing moment. Then a few months after that, when I went to shake hands with Coach Tarantini, who I think is an incredible coach and just a tough nail, just tough, hard-headed man, he said, "I'm going to effing kill you if I ever see you," which I thought was a great compliment, right? I just ruined his team's dream, and that's what he told me. And my brother went to chase him down to fight him. But it was just this great moment. Davidson to the Final Four. It was the furthest any Davidson team, Division I team, had ever gone. So I was just part of a great group of guys. And, this is the Squirrels. A lot of people might recognize my name or your name, but I have so many incredible people working with me, and it makes me look good. Our goal is to make the region look good and showcase RVA. So people from around the world, when they come through town, they catch a Squirrels game or a Kickers game or go to the Raceway or go to VCU, and whatever they do, and they say, man, this is a really neat place to live, and people are welcoming, and whatever your political views and wherever you're from, they make you feel welcome. That's one of the things that I really love about Richmond.
Well, you're an amazing, amazing representative of not only the Richmond Kickers, but not only the Richmond region, but also your family. I know that's so important to you. Rob, thank you very much. Nick's doing this, which he does this for about 15 minutes, and I just let him do it. He's going to have some really big muscles by the time we're done all these shows. But thank you. Do you want to pitch real quick your next home game so that people can come see the Kickers?
Yeah, we play Saturday night at 6:30. We have 1,000 tickets available. Hopefully you can join us. It should be a great night. And if you can't make it to us, go watch the movie Saturday night. It'll be a great time with some Parney. Thanks.
Well, you can come to our movie on Thursday or happy hour on Friday, but go see the Kickers as much as you can. Rob, great to see you, buddy. Congratulations on all your success. We love the Kickers. We love you, and we're looking forward to being out there again with you soon. Thanks for being here. Have a great night with your family. Have fun. Go nuts. All right, we'll be back right after this. The El Jefe, the league president, I'm probably going to get fined an undisclosed amount of money by the league president after this interview. Joe McCatherine. We're going to talk all kinds of things with El Jefe, Joe McCatherine, league president of the Eastern League, right after this commercial message. All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. If you have questions or comments for me, the third part of the segment with my main hombre, Anthony Opperman, over the man behind the curtain, Anthony Opperman is ready to take your questions. Just go to the little chat. Is that what it's called, Anthony? A chat? Yeah, hit the chat and type in your question for Anthony Opperman. Folks, those of you that have been to the Diamond for big games, those of you that have been to the Diamond last year for Eastern League All-Star Week, probably were looking for the Eastern League president, Joe McCatherine. But the person that you see there, for some reason holding his hand up with his Knotty Pine camouflage hat, is Joe McCatherine, Eastern League president. Joey, how are you? Can you hear me? Well, we're having technical difficulties, it looks like. Joe and Nick will work this out. I thought we had him there for a second. We can see Joe. I don't know if he can hear us. Let me see if he texted me. Live television, folks. Live. He must be calling. Who's he calling? Is he calling me? All right, folks, we'll be right back. Another quick commercial break, and we'll get Joe McCatherine on the phone. Meantime, make sure that you contact us with your questions. All right, everybody. Obviously, Joe McCathron's not here with us. We're having our biggest and best ever technical issue with the Eastern League office, which is located in Portland, Maine. So I think that speaks for itself. So we're going to go back to a quick break. We're trying to get Joe on, and he is waiting for you, Nick. Joe's waiting for you. So we will go to a quick break, and then we'll come back. Please don't leave. This is going to be a great interview if and when we ever get to it. All right, everybody. I think we have it. Joe Mack, Eastern League president. Talk to me, buddy.
Gosh, Parney, I'll tell you what. This technology gets in the way of fishing, but I'll tell you what. It's good to be here with you. And hey, Anthony, Nick, let me throw out a little shout out because I'll tell you what. Evidently, I am a very difficult person to get connected. So
you're very
it's
difficult.
Great to be with you.
And
I'm counting on a lot of fun, so let's do it.
Your wife is there with you, Mary. Hi, Mary. And she, more than anybody else, could probably say how difficult you are at just about anything. Eastern League President Joe McCathron, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're a little bit behind schedule, but Nick knows I never follow the sticking schedule he makes up anyway, so who cares? I'm just going to be a little late for dinner, and I could probably miss a meal. Eastern League President Joe McCathron, let's talk business for a second. You were very instrumental in bringing baseball to Richmond, Virginia after the Braves left. Why in the world did you, as the Eastern League president, want this market?
Well, let me be straight with you. It's not that I did want it so much, and I'm going to give a shout out to John O'Connor, and I'm going to give out a shout out to some of the folks in Richmond. But I remember talking with John O'Connor, and we were talking about Richmond. And I said, John, come on, man, that's too far away. And then John started talking to me about history, about, taking the 5-hour bus rides up to Scranton, and he was selling to baseball fans. So I said, well, hold on. All right, well, then maybe we should go look. And I'll tell you what, plain and simply, the reception, the first time I came to Richmond and was identified, whether it be in the hotel I was staying at or at a restaurant I was going to, long before you were around. I was the star before you, Parn, by the way. I'll tell you what, everybody, everywhere I went and everything I said, when I said, well, we're down here investigating whether baseball would work, all of a sudden it became, I likened it to where you were before in Altoona. Like, you know what? Everybody would support this team and they were fans. And I said, you know what? Maybe there's something here. And it just grew. The community spoke for itself. And that's, why did we want to be there? Because the community spoke up.
Well, I know when I was thinking about coming here with Chuck Domino, you really you've been influential in my life. And folks, this is an interview with the Eastern League president, but honestly, this is an interview with one of my best friends in the world. Someday when I croak, finally, I've been winning a lot longer than people thought I would. The guy you see dressed for whatever reason in that camouflage hat and his fishing glasses is going to be one of the guys giving the eulogy. But Joey, let's talk a little bit. You talked about the bringing baseball back, and I don't want to talk too much about baseball, honestly. Talk about All-Star Week, because right now that's what we have. We're dealing in COVID times, and we're going to talk about that next. But when we got the All-Star Week, All-Star Game, I know because we worked it together back in Altoona, you probably knew it was going to be different. talk about what you saw when you got here, because to this day, when you spoke into the microphone after the game and the things you said are some of the things that I cherish about Richmond as a community. Talk about what that week was like for you as the Eastern League president.
Well, it was scary to start with. I said that right off the bat. It was going to be 4 days of, oh my gosh. But you know what really, and I had a little sense because of what you guys did in Altoona, because Parney, you did the same kind of thing out there. He's like, you made it and said, hey, it's a community involvement thing. And so, the All-Star game in Richmond, what was completely spectacular about it wasn't about the team. It wasn't about the league. It wasn't about everybody else. It was about what we can do for the community. And the idea that there will be a lasting legacy. And that's going to be the legacy of the Richmond All-Star game, is that it wasn't a one-year event. It was a 4-day event. I rafted down the river with some great friends. Heidi, how are you? I hope you're watching. We had a wonderful time at the concert. Blowout. I'll tell you what, I was never a country western fan, but here I am. But more importantly, I fell in love with Richmond again. I've loved Richmond for 10 years. And what that did was every element of the community got involved. And I still speak about the Genworth and the program they set up for continuing scholarships. I know you keep trying to turn my $1,000 scholarship and commit contribution into $100,000.
Is that a commitment? Is that a commitment?
You have a commitment for me, for what the Squirrels did, for what the community did, for what Genworth did. Yeah, absolutely. My commitment is there out of my own personal pocket, because what that does is we want to make the community better. And I can't think of a better example of how you do it. And it's a long-lasting legacy, not a one-shot deal. So that's the legacy of what happened in Richmond is, it was a hell of a good time. And by the way, Richmond's known for that. But what's more important? It's going to be a hell of a great time for a whole bunch of people that are going to be affected and benefited in the long run. And that's more important.
Why become an Eastern League president? Why become a president? And I'm probably wondering today, why work in minor league baseball? You're probably wondering after today, because we were on some conference calls together today, why be an Eastern League president? Just real briefly, talk about the way you came to your seat now, and then we're going to get over into some fun stuff about our personal relationship.
Yeah, well, hey, let me be straight. My background is very different than what a lot of people have been in baseball, and I've got a very, very different background. The long and short of it is that until I was in my later 20s, I dreamed about baseball. I had gone to college. I did a lot of different things. When I was a kid, I grew up playing fantasy baseball. I invented fantasy baseball, and yet I've never seen a dime of royalties. I wasn't smart enough to monetize it. We did it in our neighborhood with kids. And baseball's always been, we used to fight over the Boston Globe in my household, Sunday sports page long before ESPN. ESPN was invented in Springfield, Massachusetts, where I grew up. So, long story short is, I worked for a living. And then all of a sudden one day I realized, like, working for a living for a long time, that's a long time. Mm-hmm. You might as well like what you do. So I went back to school for sport management. And then I realized, like, boy, you're kind of an old dude. And I wanted to distinguish myself. So, I went to law school and I did this and that. And I got great. And you know what I did? And I tell this to everybody I ever speak to, that, I put myself in the right position, in the right conditions, in this and that. If you do that, the right time will come along. And what happened was, Bill Trobe. Yep. The right time came along.
Altoona.
I called him, and he became one of my best friends. And long story short, it was like, I was going to have to practice law for a living. And quite frankly, I was not real excited about that. But it created opportunities for me, because back then in 1995, there weren't a lot of lawyers in baseball, and they weren't all, Ivy League graduates, and they weren't all this. And so it created opportunities for me. But the message I still retain is that prepare yourself, put yourself in the right place and in the right position, and the right time will come along. And Parney, I remember speaking with you just a few days ago about a young lady that we talked to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my message to her. So, and then what happens is, hey, I connect and say, hey, I'll practice law. I'll do a little bit of this. My predecessor moves on. I start helping him a lot. Right time, right place, but I put myself there. And so, that's my message to everybody. And then not only just in the baseball field, but, to anything that you really want to do. Put yourself where you need to be and have the skills and be ready to go. So that's how I ended up here. My dream was always to own a minor league baseball team or run a minor league baseball team.
Well, now you run us all. So
I always wanted to be you. I always wanted to be you, Parney. But I never.
Hey, it's not as easy as I make it look, Joe Mack. Not as easy as I make it look.
Well, I know that, and I hope everybody knows that because it's not as easy,
Hey, let's talk a little bit about our friendship. You're, as I said, one of my best friends in the whole world, and it's very special for me to have you on this show. You got your fishing attire, so let's go right to that. A few years ago, a tradition started where some of us go to Idaho. You're wearing the hat for the Knotty Pine, which has the best what in the world, Joe Mack?
Onion rings.
And we won't even talk about the Tito's and grapefruit. They put 2 whole grapefruits in 1 Tito's and grapefruit, but that's a whole other story. We don't want to talk about it.
Squeezed.
Yes, that's right, fresh squeezed. Talk about the fishing trip. Talk about how Nick's going crazy, by the way. Well, he knows he knew he was going to lose total control of the show when you came on. Talk about the fishing trip and just the fun that we have and how baseball, even though it's not front and center, the relationships that we all have due to baseball, it is front and center.
Look, let me just start with I can't wait to find out what the ratings for this show are, and I'm really excited.
Sammy's watching. Your niece Sammy's watching.
Well, and I'm really excited. I was really excited to do this because this is a very unique year. I mean, gosh darn it all. This is the craziest darn year.
The fact that you said that way is crazy and unique.
Right. And I think we're all hurting, and we're all hurting in a lot of ways, and we're all beat up. But you know what? The thing is, like hanging out with guys like yourself, whether it be Chuck, whether it be Lloyd, and the guys we're going fishing with, you know what? We're all looking at this and say this is an opportunity, and your family is, and we all are. But anyway, our fishing trip. All right, we got a friend out there, and I'll tell you what. Now I'm getting down and dirty. We got a friend out there.
Nick,
and Lloyd, I hope you're watching.
Nick just grabbed his heart, by the way.
I hope you're watching.
And you
Lloyd.
can't cuss. We're on YouTube. Do not cuss.
And I have not dropped an A-bomb yet, or an S-bomb, or an F-bomb, or anything.
Just tell the story. We're running out of time.
Because, we got this great friend, and you know what? We've got friendships, and let me. I'm just gonna for the folks that are watching. I don't know if it's 4.5 million or 5.5 million, but the reality is this. We got friends from around the country, and this friendship represents really what minor league baseball is. It's you guys in Richmond. It's a guy out on the West Coast. It's me up in the Northeast, and we're all over. And this year we were going to add a couple, from all over the country in a spread. What that is it's diversity in a lot of ways. And what happens is we're all these coast damn friends, and we get out there, and yes, business and family and everything else, but we're all humans. And so we've landed out in this place, and you know what? Hey, props where it all started. Chuck Domino latched on to a gentleman by the name of Lloyd Wright, and that's a
Lloyd Floyd.
Okay.
Lloyd Floyd.
All right, Lloyd Floyd. That said, geez, that's where he started, and that's what happens. It's a very funny circle. It's like that's where Chuck Domino started, was out there. And all of a sudden, Lloyd is out there, and all of a sudden, we get and say, so all of a sudden, we end up out there fishing together, and we get the opportunity to get out there during the season. It doesn't usually happen; it's pretty short windowed, but we get out there and we get to reconnect. We get to have really close, in-tight personal relationships. I mean, business. Do we ever stop talking about baseball? Let's face it, we don't.
No.
But you know what? Chuck's one of my closest friends in life, and will be. And I don't know what he'll say at your eulogy, but I'm not sure what. And by the way, we also roll the dice because nobody knows who's going first.
It's a sprint. It's a sprint.
You know what I mean? No, well, we're kind of hoping. Some people are hoping it's a marathon, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't look good for any of us. Let's be honest. So, this is a real opportunity to not only cement personal relationships that are, Parney, I'll tell you what, like the guys I go fishing with, that those are my closest friends on earth.
Right.
And that, includes anywhere. Those are my boom. And I think everybody that shows up there, it feels the same way. And I got to tell you what, in that kind of respects, that speaks to what minor league baseball is about.
100%.
In many, many respects, it's not people working together and everything else. It speaks to your relationship with your community. It's that close. That bond is that tight. It speaks to, Chuck's the things he's done in Richmond, the things he's done in Reading, and what he's done with the Miracle League kids and whatnot.
Yep. It
speaks to the relationship that they create with their community. And, gosh, Lloyd, God, is he not everybody's best friend in baseball? Is the trust.
And in Idaho as well.
And in Idaho.
And in Wyoming. And then we go to Wyoming for one day. He knows everybody in Wyoming too.
Lloyd reminds me of the guy. I used to you'd go to a bar with a guy with Cape Cod. We'd be down in Massachusetts and Boston somewhere at a bar, and everybody in the bar would know the guy, and he's from the Cape. So, but that's what I mean is it's not individual relationships, it's community relationships, and I think that really explains why we all gel so well. Your kids, I love them dearly. Chuck's kids love him dearly. Lloyd's kids love him dearly.
Yep. And
I think we all feel that way, and none of you will put my dog to shame.
That's right.
But you know what? That's why we're so close, is because it's what you do in your community, and that's why we have such love and respect for one another.
Absolutely, 1,000%. Another thing, by the way, Joe Mack, are those my fishing glasses that you're wearing? Oh no, Domino dropped those at the bottom of the Snake River last year.
Those are at the bottom of the river, and I got to tell you what, greatest story ever, and thank you for that email the other day, because I tell you what, I never laughed so hard.
Domino, if you're watching, we got to find my sunglasses at the bottom of the Snake River. Another great moment.
Right, well, wait a minute. Finish the story about the gambling. There's no gambling in baseball, but
we have a little contest. Uh-oh. Most biggest. Domino and I go at it every year, and last year Domino beat me, but he was wearing a pair of my sunglasses, and it's for 100 points if you get my drift.
Parney, can I chime in for a minute?
Sure, you can finish the story. Well, by the way, we got 5 minutes.
Oh, bullshit. We're gonna finish on.
There he goes.
We're going on. Long and short, the reason he was wearing his sunglasses is because what he had wouldn't allow him to see the fish, and we all said, "Chuck, you really ought to try a different pair of sunglasses." And you said, graciously, "Hey, even though we're gambling together, here's my sunglasses."
Yeah, and then it was windy that day, as attested to the number of times that I tangled my line around TC, my fishing guide. And then what happened when y'all walked into the bar afterwards?
I met the woman that invented the Apple phone.
And that's what she said. But Domino, I said, Domino, how many did you catch? He said 6. I go, oh, you beat me. Here's 100. Where's my glasses? He goes, you don't owe me 100. Your glasses are at the bottom of the Snake River. So, hey, Joey, another great tradition we have besides fishing is the last night of the winter meetings, we go out for a big dinner, and that probably has so many stories we can't even tell. But another moment that I want to touch on before we get to our final few minutes together, you and I in 2004 went to the World Series. Remember that night?
Yes, I do.
You're a big St. Louis Cardinal fan. I flew in. All I had was a backpack with a pair of underwear and a T-shirt, a Dell Swaim, and a toothbrush. Dell Swaim was our former manager in Altoona, was the third base coach for the Red Sox. And you said to me, our seats are great. Our seats are great. Remember we went to that restaurant beforehand and Louis Tiant was sitting in there?
Yep.
And Joe said, our seats are great. We kept walking up to our seats. Folks, we finally get there. We're like in the last section in right field. I said, Joey, I thought you said these seats were great. And he goes, Parney, let me show you something. Follow me. Walk back there. We're 20 feet from a nearest beer tap. And we have our own bathroom right behind us. Greatest seats ever. Right, Joe?
Parney, how would you describe those seats?
Greatest seats ever. So we spent the night watching the World Series together. Joe, as we finish up here the last few minutes, talk about the manager relationships. Some of the managers you worked with the Eastern League president, as the Eastern League president. Some of the guys are really famous now. Is there anybody that pops into your head as far as somebody you really enjoyed working with?
I got to tell you what, Parn, I'm awful glad you brought that up because between the coaching staff and the managers and the relationship that we have with both farm directors and on-field personnel, it's it can be difficult at times. Managers are always trying to protect their team. And that's their obligation. And by the same token, I've got the folks that I work for that are always trying to, hey, there's a business side, but I got to tell you what, our 12-member clubs do really well by their on-field personnel. But there are a few that really come back to me and really hit back to me. And it's ironic as I started to think about this, when you ask the question is, where a lot of great ones come from. And this sounds out of Cleveland and out of Akron. And I know a couple of these guys are really close.
I talked to Fander this afternoon, by the way. Fander and I talked.
I'm just going to throw out a couple names that I suspect will that you're going to just get teary-eyed over. Yep. For one was, I don't know if you remember Tim Bogart. You might have been
love Bogey,
right? So Bogey is just an incredible human being, right? And as a manager, the guy was just awesome. Right now, he represented his team, and every time he got fired up at times and everything else. But boy, just talking to him as a person, yep. He was just this wonderful human being, and he would be, so it was wonderful. And another one that I'll tell you what, get a napkin, get a tissue, is happening. Dave Wallace.
Oh, the best. Always the best.
Get it right. And so Dave Wallace was a really great one. And here's another one that I'm going to throw a couple before I hit with you with the big one. Before I hit with you with the big one.
Good, because we're running out of time.
Nick, hey, dude, it's a television show. Arnie Baylor, I don't know, you may not remember him.
Absolutely.
There were days of Joel Skinner and Eric Wedge. They were all good guys. That's why I say,
people probably don't remember that Eric Wedge was a manager in this league before he was a major league manager.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's like these guys were. Joel Skinner the same way. Eric Wedge. These guys became big league managers. And
Torey Lavulo.
Mike
Sarbaugh.
Mike Sarbaugh. These guys, and I'll tell you, this all came through that Cleveland. I mean, I don't want to, but there's one guy that I gotta throw out there with you guys. One of my favorites of all time. I mean, these guys were all big on the list. Dave Wallace and Tim Bogart, and they're all big on my list. But there's a guy you guys had in Richmond that I would not let the conversation end without saying Dave Mackman.
Yeah, he was on this show. What, Nick? Three episodes ago.
Mac was a pro in every sense of the way. Mac was entertaining in every sense of the way. Mac was just a great human being in every sense of the way,
and he still is.
And he's honest, and he's ethical, and he's moral. I ran into him. He was out here scouting, I think, with the Orioles, and I ran into him in the stands a couple times, and so it was a great way. So Mac is just a great guy. Arnie Baylor.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about Willie.
We're running out of time, Joe. Sorry, we're running out of time.
All right.
Actually, let's do Willie. Willie actually was on a MJBL virtual show the other day, and they told me did a great job. Hey, let's finish this up with one thing. Our fans are watching. They know that we're in discussions with Major League Baseball. As the Eastern League president, what's the future of minor league baseball in like 2 minutes or less? What should our fans be watching for? And I know that you and I are involved in a lot of things, you more than me, but what kind of prognosis can you give our fan base, Joe?
Well, I'll tell you what, in 2 minutes or less, and I'll try to do it in a minute so that I can, first of all, the Richmond Squirrels are coming back. The Richmond Flying Squirrels are going to be bigger and better and stronger than ever. Let's face it, COVID has impacted a lot of our lives.
Yep.
And the Squirrels have been leaders in trying to do things right and trying to do things healthy and safe. And they're going to continue to do that. Mm-hmm. And when they are hosting people in their ballpark next year, it's going to be the same way. What I want to do is say with certainty, the Squirrels are going to be hosting people in their ballpark next year. I can't tell you the specific conditions of what your governor or somebody else is going to say. I expect that it's going to be, much closer to normal, and we don't really know what normal is anymore. But our baseball, we're going to have affiliated baseball back. It's going to be, back, and it's going to be playing in Richmond. And we fully expect that it will be the AA level and at the stadium, and it will be associated with everything we do. And I don't think there will be any difference to any fan that will know the difference. It will be AA. It will be the Eastern League. It will be competing with the same players, the same clubs, the same everything. If there are differences, it will be behind the scenes. It will be from ownership. It will be an internal structure. So I think really that we've all agreed, Major League Baseball has agreed, minor league baseball has agreed, each and every community has agreed that these communities will continue to present the affordable family entertainment, and that is not in doubt. And that I think is the one positive thing that we can really say is that we've all agreed on that.
I tell people all the time, the beer's going to taste better, the hot dogs are going to taste better. The umpires that you're in charge of might even get the calls right, but let's not get crazy, but they might do that next year.
The umpires are going to be, I'll tell you what, I'll leave that with you.
All right, Joey, well, we're going to have to run to our final segment before Tanya has to put my dinner in the microwave. Joey Mack, we love you. We look forward to seeing you, and I'm going to win the contest in Idaho this year. I'm sure we'll talk tomorrow. Love you, pal.
Before you shut this off, folks, let's just talk about this. I'm going to need another minute. Nick, settle down. There is a contest. It's called Biggest and Most. Last year, one particular boat, Biggest and Most. I was in that. Parney was not. Let everybody speak to Parney. Although what I should be playing is Mr. Joe Tangles, right?
That's his nickname.
But our fishing expedition is now a primary cause, and as you can see, Parney is not as focused on efforts as I am, because I am now focused 100% entirely. So, guys, thank you for having me. But understand, I am completely focused now. August 25th.
Just bring your crisp hundreds. We'll be right back for the final segment with Anthony Opperman. Thank you, Joey Mack. We'll be right back after this quick message, and thank you to everyone at SciComm. Have fun, go nuts.
Founded in 1996, SciComm is an award-winning IT systems integrator headquartered in Richmond with offices throughout Virginia. Their focus is on mid-Atlantic companies, healthcare organizations, educational institutions, and governments looking to improve their technology return on investment. SciComm is a trusted partner to deliver a range of IT solutions and services that keep companies connected. Named as one of the top workplaces in Richmond, SciComm is also the employer of choice for the best talent in the region and are committed to providing outstanding and memorable service.
All right, well, I'm sweating. Nick, are you all right, buddy? We're good. All right, Nick's good. Had a little bit of technical difficulty because apparently they don't have the internet up in Portland, Maine. Anthony Opperman, the man behind the curtain. Let's bring this baby home. Tauntaun, I hope that there is some food somewhere around because I am hungry. Anthony, what do we got?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have any questions in the chat for you, but did have a couple of questions that came to mind through your conversations with your guests. First, you asked Rob Ukrop what one Ukrop's food item he would take from the grocery store. Turnabout's fair play, big guy. What one Ukrop's item would you take from the grocery store?
Ukrop specific, it would have to be the rainbow cookies, even though I'm not eating sugar. But the rainbow cookies, if it was just something out of a grocery store, Wes McElroy would agree with me because he's seen me do this before. Sleeves and sleeves of Klondike bars.
Got the sweet tooth working tonight, big guy. I like it. Hey, you talked about the fishing trip to Idaho. Outside of the camaraderie between you guys, what's your favorite thing about being out in Idaho?
Waking up in the morning and being at the foot of the Teton Mountains is number one. Number two is the relationships that we've made with the fishing guys at Teton Valley Lodge. TC is the guy that always is in my boat. And Oppo, TC went to high school, small world story, with the Braun brothers from Reckless Kelly. See, we can't get through one show without talking about Reckless Kelly.
Well, I guess that takes the question away from that I was about to ask you is favorite people or person from Idaho, specifically Stanley, Idaho. So glad we got that Braun Brothers shout out in there. And what's up, guys, at Reckless Kelly? Hey, talked about movies in the outfield coming up Thursday. It's the kickoff to our 80s in August series. Favorite 80s movie, big guy? We've got The Goonies coming up. We mentioned Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There's some good ones.
I've never actually seen The Goonies. And you know what else? Was E.T. in the 70s or 80s?
1982, E.T.
Never seen E.T. either. But for me, it's pretty simple. I got three. Bull Durham, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Over here, Mr. Hand.
It's tough, and I was kind of thinking about this earlier. The list of 80s movies is pretty solid with Ghostbusters, Top Gun. I mean, there's some really strong 80s movies out there. So looking forward to celebrating a few of those coming up starting tomorrow night with our 80s in August and the Goonies. Last question for you, big guy. We had exchanged text messages earlier this week. Dusty Baker, I thought, dropped a phenomenal quote in his post-game media session in Oakland. This was, I think, before the fight. He said that, it's like they always say, the sun doesn't shine on the same dog's backside every day. Hopefully one day the sun will shine on us. I thought that was a great quote. Baseball guys are known for having some great quotes and some great one-liners. Big guy, who is one baseball person you've been around that has had some really exceptional one-liners and maybe a quote that stands out to you?
Man, there's so many, but this one's going to be surprising because this person is a former player as well as a minor league and minor league manager and a major league coach. And I spent 3 years with him. Ken Oberkfell had some of the greatest quotes, but he was most known for being quiet and introverted. But he had quotes like, if our hitting was bad and our pitching was good, hey, Parney, we got to pray for a shutout and hope for a tie. And then one time he got ejected by an umpire whose name was John Kennedy. And as he walked off the field, Obi said, you know what? They shot the wrong Jack Kennedy. So Obi would always have, his saying also was smoke and mirrors. Every time I win a game, when they would do the high five line, Obi would say to the guys, smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. So Ken Oberkfell for me is at the top of the list, but there's so many colorful characters, as you saw by our East League president, Joe McCatherine. So many colorful characters in our game. I could talk to you about it all night, but we got to go home soon.
Well, speaking of that, big guy, before we go, I want to make sure we get to show off those Parney pants today. I think these are new ones for the show. I don't think you've worn these yet.
I have not worn these for the show. I haven't worn these in a while, actually, but I think we got right here. These are, I can wear those next Saturday night for our Dias Voladoras weekend here for happy hour on Friday, and then for the movie Coco, which my daughter Sammy said is one of her favorite movies. I didn't know that about her.
Well, big guy, I'm glad that like this coming Friday's happy hour, Parney's Pitch Around's a rain or shine event too. So appreciate spending the evening with you.
Thank you very much, Oppo, as usual. We look forward to our next show in a couple of weeks. Nick, thank you for getting us back on from Portland, Maine. Evan, great job. Oppo, great job. Tauntaun, put the food in the oven. Parney's coming home. Have a great night, everybody. Have fun. Go nuts.